So, I may not know you, but I know you miss the past. You don't trust the future, and you're probably feeling very lost. And that's totally okay because, for the most part, in my journey of the 20s, I felt like a teenager still. Sometimes I still feel like I'm 16 and feeling powerless and ignorant in many ways. I've noticed so much, especially on social media and with all the YouTube video essays out there about Gen Z being cooked. It feels like we're all trying to outrun a future that hasn't even happened yet. I mean, everyone I know is stressed about money, jobs, the world ending, or whether they'll ever retire. Like sometimes I really think, what hole in the wall am I going to end up in 25 years from now, even? Like, will I ever be just okay? And meanwhile, our ancestors didn't have the whole rushing anxiety of this through a rectangle in their pocket, just streaming this stuff at us for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So this video is basically about Gen Z survival. This is my Gen Z survival guide, or maybe it's just me trying to calm myself down, but I feel that it's really crucial to just share that stuff in these times because what are we doing? So I want to talk about the escape fantasy first. A lot of us have this fantasy of escaping adulthood, right? Like, have you ever been working at McDonald's, Domino's, or even in the mall at your retail job and just wishing you could be anywhere but there? For me, I felt like I wish I could be on a beach, just staring out into the ocean on the front porch of a beach house. And I felt that way since 2022. I still feel that way now. Sometimes. Other times it's just making videos in Japan. But you get what I'm saying. The crazy thing is, every generation has had that fantasy. We've just had to romanticize ours on TikTok. So there's something that I've taken away from either going from temp job to temp job and being unemployed in between, and that no matter how much I fantasize about being gone, about being self sufficient, about being in some sort of safe haven, happily ever after, is that there's no escape. It doesn't end. For as long as your brain is uploading information and your heart is pumping blood, you got to keep doing this every day. I've learned in some sort of, I don't want to say doomer mindset, that as long as you're alive, well, it's like babysitting yourself until your eventual death. Like, are you doing things that make you happy? Are you doing things that make you miserable? Where are you going? What are you doing with your time? What are you doing with other people? Should you be doing things with other people? Stuff like that. And it just keeps on going until you stop. And and by stop I mean like if something were to happen to you, God forbid. But yeah, I learned. It just hit me one day. There's no escape in the magic that we imagine. It should actually be grounding in some way because life is always going to need work. We're always going to need structure. We're always going to need routine. And that should be a good thing because in unpredictable times like this, we're going to need something to look forward to that we know we can depend on every single day. Whether that's a snack, whether that's going to the gym, whether that's just catching up on the latest Netflix phenomenon. Something to look forward to as part of our routine. I actually learned being on the phone with two different friends. I was yapping to a childhood friend about where am I going to end up, what I'm talking to you about right now. And I realized that being stuck and being stable are two different sides of the same coin. Yeah, I want to daydream and I just want to be on a different side of the world right now. But while I'm at my job, I'm having some sort of stability in the way of financial ownership. A little bit, right? But also at the same time, though, I could complain and begin to feel stuck. because I'm not making that much money, if any, and I can't go anywhere and I have to show up at the same shitty place every day, you know? So it's a complete mindset thing. So that's a mindset shift that I had to realize for myself. And another thing my other friend taught me was that there's freedom and responsibility. So the freedom that we all want, it may not be in the daydream sort of way, but you can get freedom through working a job that you really like and getting that cash flow, but then also knowing that you're giving yourself towards a cause that you really care about. Because if you don't have structure, then we have nothing. We're floating aimlessly. And I don't want to do that for the rest of my life. I don't know about you. The next thing I want to talk about is the 2016 nostalgia loop. How many TikTok posts have you liked in the last week about people talking about how badly they miss pop culture in the 2010s? Like the oldest Gen Z right now is about 28 years old. 28, that's not old. We had, to us, the best songs, we had the coolest music videos, we had awesome shows, we had awesome sneaker trends. It was a pretty big boom, but it hasn't even been a full 10 years yet since 2016, and people are still yearning for Vine, which is cool because the app Vine is going to be coming out soon, which is just the basically Vine re-uploaded. It, it's just a Vine 2.0, which is awesome, but you can check that out on your own time. Um, yes, Vines were fun. Being 12 to 16 years old was fun. Not paying bills. And that's the key thing. We weren't paying bills. If you were to ask a Gen Xer or even someone that was close to being homeless back in the 2010s, they were like, what about it? What about 2016 was so great? It was 2016 is glazed so much only by our generation. All those posts you see are moderated by Gen Zers. Being a teenager and not having to worry about paying bills, like the biggest thing you had to worry about was making sure your test was studied for on Friday, who liked you, being able to afford that Thrasher hoodie, Adidas track pants, Vans, Air Forces, um, and being caught up on scream queens. Like, it wasn't anything serious. It was light. Nostalgia is just our brains grieving simplicity. The world wasn't that much better for it to, yeah, like there were definitely good times, but outside of that, nostalgia is making it seem way bigger than it actually was. Like the middle of the decade was some sort of promised Neverland, and it wasn't because we're just getting our asses kicked right now, and that's why we're yearning so much for our teenage years. Any time before 2020 felt like heaven. We've had a global pandemic. We haven't been able to afford moving out, and if you are moving out, you're at war with your horrible landlord every day. And yeah, the job market has just been really bad. So what else is there to do other than, oh, I wish, man, do you remember when? I get it. So with all of those going on, with all of that mess going on, the best thing that you can do right now is to stay mindful because being in the present moment is the only thing that's real. Worrying about where you're going to end up is only going to make things worse, especially when you're aware of how things are not going good for you right now and knowing that you can't escape it by going back in time. The best thing you can do is create senses of happiness in this current moment, whether that is finding a show, whether that is learning how to cook a new recipe at home, whether that's picking up the phone and calling someone. We need to talk to people. We need to pick up the phone and call people. I've felt so much feelings of isolation when just by simply not picking up the phone. And I get it. We're in our 20s, we all have to work and pay bills and stuff like that. But if you can just find a friend or two to find small pockets of time to catch up with, I promise you, you'll feel a lot better. But to complement that, you've got to find hobbies that make you feel good. Whether that is going out for a jog, whether that's starting to do calisthenics, whether that's learning how to paint. I have a Sonic the Head I have a Sonic the Hedgehog coloring book that I like to go through every now and then, just to pass the time because yeah, you just gotta babysit yourself. You gotta look after yourself. Because looking for relatability on another doomer content YouTube video, a friend told me on the phone, yeah, she said, you cannot watch that shit. She clocked me. I was like, no, I can't. I can't. Because that's contributing to how shitty and powerless I feel already. Um, Stay connected to yourself. That's mindfulness is really it's the whole root of mentally surviving. I feel like surviving it's a mental thing more than a physical. You have to look for some sort of bright side stuff. And I get it. It's like, oh my god, I don't want to hear any more optimistic or giddy optimism crap. But it really is that. It really is that damn phone that will fuck you up. I'm not kidding. You gotta touch grass. And I don't even speak that way, but it's true. It's true. I've learned that maybe if I want, I can look 2 years into the future at most. That's the most I can do personally. If I can look 2 years into the future, where do I want to be? Because so much can happen. Like I did so much this year already that I at times wasn't even appreciative of. I went to Europe for a breakdance camp. Okay. I met so many friends over the world. One of my friends that told me you cannot be watching that Gen Z Doomer shit is from Germany. I would not have met her for her to tell me that over the phone 6 months later if it wasn't for me going out there. Um, I was able to get away from McDonald's. That was great. um, what else? Yeah, I think one of the special things I found in this time is finding a third space to chill out. Because being at home is not that healthy either all the time. Like, yeah, comfort, but get out and go to the library and watch something. I started watching Avatar The Last Airbender, one episode a day, every day, and it's just like takes me away to a special world. So if you can create that sort of fictional structure for yourself in the fact that you're disappearing, you have somewhere to disappear to for like 20 minutes, the characters begin to feel real to me, the world feels real to me, but then have somewhere where you can watch it, unless if you just like doing it in your bed. Things like that have really made me feel content again, calm. I think that's the best thing you can do for yourself. So, to finish things off, Gen Z survival, it's not about hustling or scraping as much money as you can and then fucking off to Hawaii or Japan. I mean, you can, but if it's not possible for you to do that, if your job's not paying you enough or you just can't find a job for the life of you, it's about living it gently. It's about remembering that we aren't supposed to have it all figured out at 20 or even 30. Another thing that really helped me is that realizing, yeah, let me just crash and burn throughout my 20s. Let me safely, let me fuck around and find out. Let me fall apart at all the solidified expectations that were constructed in my mind through media of being young and rich and having it all together. Let me fall apart and regrow and relearn and come back with a stronger sense of what life is supposed to be, which can be your own definition in any way, shape, or form. It doesn't matter because it's yours, and as far as we're concerned, you only have one life to live. So do whatever it takes to properly feel it positively. Yeah. Only focus on what you have control over because other than that, life is happening to you. It's all about how you react to it. Yeah. Well, I hope that helps you out. Um, if you're in your 20s right now, you're not alone. You are not alone. I hope this can bring you some sort of peace, and I'll see you in the next video. Okay.